Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an Ektar Solo Heroes of the Storm cast, tonight featuring Yavapai County Youth Municipal Chess and Swim Team 3, Revenge of Yavapai, versus one more fight. That is going to be the only time this cast that I actually say that whole thing out. And this is a nice Div E match. I don't think we've cast any Div E yet this season, so gonna be looking to see some Tomb of the Spider Queen action as we get into our draft for game number 1. And if you did not quite have time to see the info screen of how we got to Tomb of the Spider Queen for map number 1, I got you, fam. So Yavapai had won the coin toss and they opted for map pick, which is not usually the standard these days. With map pick, they chose to ban Dragonshire. One more fight banned out Towers of Doom. Yavapai banned out Braxis Holdout. One more fight banned out Sky Temple. And Yavapai are going to take us to Tomb of the Spider Queen for game number 1. And I think it's really interesting. Both teams banning out two of the least played maps in all of NGS, being Sky Temple and Braxis. So really kind of wanted to make sure they stay on the standard maps. You could argue that Dragonshire and Towers are a little bit up there in standard, and oh boy, lots of map bans. I'm guessing that means that the overlay tool messed up, but that's okay, because we can clear that and fix it before we have to show that screen again. Got Deathwing coming out as the first ban. I mean, Deathwing, he's not necessarily first pick material, but he is definitely warps the way you have to play the game material, so it's not too big of a surprise to see Deathwing getting banned out here. And what's going to be the first ban coming out from Yavapai? It's going to be ETC, like the second most popular tank in the game, so not a terrible surprise to see him getting banned out there, although it does leave the possibility for one more fight to pick up Johanna, the most popular hero in NGS, so look to see that going forward. Just getting the bans fixed up here. And waiting for our final ban, or final first phase ban coming out from one more fight, taking the whole time in deciding. And it's going to be Zool. I think that's a fantastic ban. Zool did get nerfed a little bit, so he's not as oppressive as he once was, but he's still very strong, and especially on a map like this where it's so small, he can get a ton of pushing value. Plus, with the recent tower changes, Tomb of the Spider Queen's objective is a little on the weaker side as far as just straight push potential, and with the skeletons that Zool can summon, that can really help to augment that power. And Kel'Thas, like, if you want to ban a damage, Kel'Thas is one of the first ones people often look for. And hey, look, it's Johanna, the most popular hero in NGS. Probably, well, I don't know about in Heroes of the Storm as a whole, but definitely in competitive. Johanna's been pretty much the rock of competitive for several seasons now. So I'm interested to see then who Yavapai are going to pick up as their main tank, considering the two premier tanks have been picked and banned already. Jaina and Raynor coming out, that is a nice pairing that go together really well, especially if Jim Raynor goes into Ace of the Hole, which is generally considered the standard talent for Raynor. And then obviously Jaina just provides the slow that Jimmy likes to feed off of, and it makes me feel like maybe they're going to lean into a Diablo, who pairs very well with both of those heroes. Ooh, a Rexar pick. Rexar is not the most popular offlaner outside of Dragonshire and Braxis Holdout, both of which are already banned out. So it's a little bit of an interesting thing seeing him getting picked up on Tomb of the Spider Queen, but like, he still wins the solo lane. It's just that winning the solo lane is a lot less important on these maps than the other ones that were just mentioned. And for our final ban, it's Brightwing. Interesting. Brightwing is not a common ban, so seeing her getting banned out here really makes me wonder what Yavapai are going to pick up going into the later parts of this draft. Something like a Tracer or an Illidan. And I love the Diablo ban, as mentioned, because I think he pairs very well with both Raynor and Jaina. Like, Overpower is a really great CC ability because you know where the hero is going to land up after it. So you just throw a Blizzard behind Diablo when he charges, and you get guaranteed value with that. Ana and Malthael, I think, is an interesting pair to pick up together. Ana is obviously great with Jaina, But Ana's also great with Malthael, especially if you go into Tormented Souls, which can provide a lot of team fight value, especially, like, they've got Rexar, which means there's an extra body on the side of one more fight. So Malthael can get a ton of value, but usually you still end up seeing the last rights getting used there. Phoenix getting picked up is... You know, he's Phoenix. He isn't the world's most popular damage dealer, but he's not terrible. He's not even bad, he's just kind of fine. But Rhaegar coming in, I don't know if there's enough on the side of one more fight to go into a Bloodlust comp. It obviously benefits everyone because of the move speed, but like Johanna gets some value, Rexar gets okay value, Phoenix gets pretty good value, but I don't know if that's quite enough to want to go into Bloodlust just off of that. And a Blaze pickup, so nothing actually particularly weird coming out from Yavapai. I don't understand the Brightwing ban then. It's not a big map, so the global is whatever, and no one on the side of... Like, I just don't get it. But, hey, I don't know how actually present you are in chat, but if you are, Ace, would you mind putting up a poll for me? I'd appreciate it. But if not, I totally understand you have really valid reasons not to be here right now. Okay. But even if a poll doesn't magically appear, what do y'all think? Whose draft do you like better? Personally, I think I gotta give it to Yavapai for two reasons. One, let's check this out. Better portrait synergy. You've got 4 green Samuros and then 1, I think that's the monkey Samuro. So good portrait synergy, only 3 out of 5 portrait synergy on the side of one more fight. But also, they've just got like a nice standard kind of draft. You got your tanky tank, you've got your does well in the soul lane bruiser, an auto attacker, a mage, and they both work well with each other, and also Ana for your mage. Like, it's just a really nice standard comp. I think that one more fight definitely still have a chance. Obviously, the game hasn't even started yet, but I think that they need to do a little bit better in this game than Yavapai. Yavapai have the easier comp to execute, if you will. And there's, you know, outside of Heroic, I really feel like that's a valid thing to consider. Just ease of execution. Taking a little bit of time to get this game loaded. Not sure what's up with that too much. Usually these NGS matches load very quickly, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Some people unfortunately have to have Comcast. I used to be one of them until Spectrum took over for them. Is Comcast actually still a company, or did they totally get bought out by Spectrum? Alrighty, we have now spawning on the left-hand side in the blue trunks, Yavapai, etc., with Andrade playing Blaze, Blue Space Hat playing Jaina. What was that? Shank B9 playing Jim Raynor, Auraluna playing Ana, and Mega Milk playing Malthael. And on the right side, in the red trunks, it is one more fight with Echo playing Johanna, Newton Rocks playing Phoenix, Hellstorm playing the Liming, Midnight Fire on Rhaegar, and in the bottom lane we have Mystery... Oh man, I can't read that at all. Yeah, Mr. Lennon or something. I apologize so much for butchering your name playing the Rexar. Alright, check out the level 1 talents. We didn't actually go into Ace in the Hole. It is going to be Executioner, which is a fine talent. It's really great for wave clear, and it helps with the objective, so I'm not terribly surprised to see it, but I would have liked to have had that synergy coming in. Ana going into Grenade build instead of the slightly more popular Sleep Dart build these days. Rexar going Bird build, which I think is pretty standard. Aether Walker, always love to see it because Blizzard wants us to take that talent so badly. And Iron Skin on one for Johanna, worried about that extra crowd control that could be coming in. And there is a fair amount of it coming in with the Blaze charge and slow. The Jimmy has could have gone into a slow, but also has the knockback, and Sleep Dart is incredibly powerful CC if your team is able to use it. We have Big Stuff Dr. Pepper. Big Stuffed Pepper, there we go, coming in with the Yavapai. Cheers, let's go Yavapai. we'll see how they're able to do it. They did choose to go to this map as a reminder, so I'd like to see them, in particular, play this map well. At the moment, there's a slight XP lead for One More Fight, as they've just got a little bit better wave clear in their 4-man. Jaina can obviously do a lot of siege damage, but with as long of a cooldown as Blizzard has, she just doesn't quite chunk it out as fast as some of the members of One More Fight. Echo getting caught out, but does have the D available to just get out of dodge. Midnight Fire already turning in 12 gems, so wanting to make sure that they're just not running around with too many, so that if they do get picked off, it's not too big of a deal. We did have Mega Milk rotating up to the mid lane to make sure that Yavapai don't miss that XP. However, that does give time for Miss Steltine to go ahead and take this camp, the siege camp. A little bit of engage coming out into Newton Rocks, but he's able to warp on away before anything too bad happens. Playing a little bit far forward, if Andre decides to pull the jet propulsion, he could be put into a pretty bad spot, especially because that warp is currently down. There we go, that camp getting picked up by Rexar with a little bit of help from Li Ming in the bot lane. And we see One More Fight having just a little bit of extra wave clear, and that's getting them now about a quarter of a level XP lead as they're looking to take this Bruiser camp. I don't know that Rexar's going to be able, or that Rhaegar is going to be able to do it by himself, but Rexar is rotating to make sure that he's not doing it by himself. Newton Rocks playing really aggressively as the World 4s have already come in, continuing to go for the auto attack on 1 and 4. Anna still going for grenades. Jaina has somehow gotten 0. There we go. 401 frost damage at the 3-minute mark. It's a little bit strange. Definitely want to get that finished out so you can get the improved ice block, which will help her survivability a tremendous amount. Midnight Fire, ooh, does get hit with the jet propulsion and blizzard and sleep dart, and that is going to secure first kill of this game for Yavapai. However, even with that kill, they're still behind a little bit in XP. They're down 2 camps to 0, and they've just missed out on a couple of minions, but both teams now have the turn-in available. Mega Milk is only going to be able to get 2, which is obviously not anywhere near close enough to get their turn-in. Most of the gems currently are on Andrade, and you generally don't want your tank to be holding the gems if possible, and it is what usually ends up happening just because they're the ones that can survive walking in to pick them up, but you would rather have one of your DPS take it so your tank can zone getting that turn-in. Who has a turn-in available? I think it's Rexar and probably one other. As just Rexar has turn-in. We did see the hubris that we've been seeing so far with Phoenix finally getting punished by Andre in that jet propulsion, as the second kill now it gets picked up for Yavapai. Unfortunately leaving a couple of XP globes and a gem in the mid lane there, but they do get the first turn-in, and this should help him to fix the disparity between the two teams in the XP department. Especially since we currently only have Li Ming defending on the top lane. She can do good hero damage and okay siege damage, but not great, and especially going into teleport build, it doesn't give you as much wave clear because Calamity does not hit out onto minions. Pretty big grenade coming out, but not actually blocking much if any healing because of the way in which Rexar heals, or sorry, Rhaegar heals. He had already used chain heals, so I don't know if that even hit onto anyone. Android taking quite a bit of damage, Echo taking a fair amount as well. That is going to be the top Blood Weaver down without having actually gotten anything except maybe that front wall, which doesn't provide any XP. Mid lane, the wall's down, and at least that bottom tower fall, probably both, and then in the bot lane, Rexar was able to stop any buildings from falling, it looks like probably. Maybe? Alright, one tower goes down there, both towers down in mid, no towers down in top, so actually a relatively small turn-in from Yavapai. They're about halfway to another turn-in, but it's only 8 gems now. Oop, bit of engagement coming out into the bot lane on Mega Milk. Takes a fair bit of damage, but if they have tap available, there won't be too much of a punishment coming from them. Blue Space Hat is your favorite Abathur player. Interesting. I would love to see an Abathur this match. We did have a red turn-in. Not terribly surprising. They had turn-in on like 4 different people, so it's kind of hard to defend against that many. And we're going to see if they can get a better turn-in than their opponents had, and that's actually totally feasible because they're a lot closer to level 10, and if they get that level 10 advantage, they'll be able to push in stronger than their opponents were able to do. Sleep Dart does hit out onto Phoenix, just stopping him from doing damage for a little bit. Mega Milk looking to make an engagement happen to make this into a 4v4, but deciding that he can't actually make that flank happen and is instead going to go clear in the bottom lane. In the mid lane, we have the front wall already pretty much falling, although the Web Weaver is already down below half. So, looks like it'll just get the wall, probably won't even get the well, although Mutant Rocks and Hellstorm putting a fair bit of damage into it. And it will fall just barely, obviously. Again, no XP to be found inside the well, but actually, Blue Space Hat clearing the top Web Weaver almost completely, so checking the bottom lane. We had the bottom lane wall and well fall, just like in the mid lane and the top lane. Almost no damage dealt, but really no significant damage dealt by either team. We do have the level 10s in for both sides, and looking like fairly standard ults coming out, with the possible exception of the Water Elemental coming out from Jaina. We do have the Tormented Souls, so look to see that paired with the Ana Nano Boost, and we've got the Combustion as well. So, big AoE teamfight wombo combo looking to be set up by the members of Yavapai. They did get the turn in the bottom lane. Mega Milk does get engaged upon pretty hard. I think that Wave of Force maybe put him into a better position. A little bit unfortunate, but is going to have to back and either Hearth all the way or tap well before the Web Weavers come down. And with bot lane pushed out as hard as it is already, then bottom port is very likely to fall here. Looks like the rest of One More Fight are looking to make a fight in the top lane, which makes a lot of sense considering they didn't really get any damage here, looking to at least get the front wall here. And if they can force enough people out of the other lanes, maybe they'll be able to get some damage done in one of the other lanes. We do have Jaina clearing in the mid, so no significant damage should be dealt there. That fort should not fall. We do have the To My Side coming out from Rexar in the bottom lane onto Mega Milk, but it looks like Misha's probably a little bit too low. Malthael did not pop also. If they engage in there harder, it's going to be very difficult for Rexar to do anything. But they did already get that bottom fort, so currently an advantage for One More Fight. Top lane does not fall, mid lane has some fair bit of pressure on it, but has not fallen either, and Mega Milk is going to be able to clean those minions up. We did have the Ancestral come out onto Echo. Both teams do have turn-in available, so slight advantage for One More Fight with that bottom port down, but not so much that is to be considered insurmountable really by either team. Echo getting caught out. We do have a Combustion coming out. Only going to hit out onto Johanna. But really, that was only being used to zone, so we could get Malthael and Jaina's gems in. Now there are only 10 gems with a turn in. Fortunately, it looks like all 10 of those gems are on Android. We do have the nano-boosted Tormented Souls come out, and that is going to find the kill out onto Hellstorm and Johanna. That is a really nice 2-for-nothing coming out from them. Rexar tried to do some peeling with the boars, but just too little too late. And that is going to be the blue Web Weavers falling, them clearing out this camp and pushing in very hard into mid, probably going to rotate up to top shortly after they get the damage in on the mid lane, and that will definitely even up the damage done in this game. As expected, mid fort falls very quickly. We have one rotating down, just the Malthael currently. Actually, they're putting... Okay, it looked like they were thinking about staying to try and get the keep wall in mid, but deciding they'd rather get damage in the top lane. I think that's a lot smarter. And they had Malthael rotate down to the bottom lane just so that they can make sure to pick up the XP that's going to drop there. They won't get any building damage done, but at least they won't miss out on the XP and gems there. Top fort is also going to fall. So now it is slight advantage for Yavapai. However, their opponents still have a turn-in available, and they themselves do not. They're almost still 30 away. So if Yavapai are able to defend the turn-in locations, it's going to be really good for them, especially as this game goes on. Rexar getting engaged a little bit. Misha might fall here. Nope, she's able to get away. Mistelntine, I'm so sorry. Fairly low on mana, is going to tap, but this does give position for One More Fight to try and get some of their own turn-in value done. Actually, they're going in and trying to get this mid-fort and try to get that value before looking for their turn-in. I think this is a really good play if they're able to get it. And they did get it. We did have the Nano Boost come out just now. The Tormented Souls was used as well, but this time he's not quite able to get onto the enemy team's backline and do the damage. Mutant Rocks is able to warp on out. Echo is kind of low, but if they get the D-Shield available, they should be able to get out just fine, although they're getting pretty low, and they do fall. So one kill going over in favor of 2 kills going over in favor of Yavapai, making that... Why did they get... How? How did you get 3 1/4 kills off of that? I'm genuinely impressed. I thought that was just kind of end up as a wash, and both teams were going to reset, but Yavapai making that team fight really worked for them, and they're going to make a boss play. And unfortunately, if you're a One More Fight fan, they lost a lot of their gems. They no longer have a turn-in available here, so significant advantage now in favor of One More Fight, really punishing, or rather, in favor of Yavapai, really punishing One More Fight for stepping in to take that fort and staying a little bit too long. We do have Rexar looking to get the turn-in now. I don't even know what skin that was. I just got... Oh, the Mecha Rexar skin, or Rhaegar skin. That's pretty cool, Hearth animation. Mega Milk looking to try and find this Rexar, and I don't think they should be able to find him. They might have to sacrifice the Misha, and the boards get used as a peeling ultimate as well, so keeping themselves alive, very nicely done by them. But this should give a turnover, or turn in over to Yavapai, which will be pushing into 2 keeps and should basically guarantee get bottom fort. Like, they're going to stay here and probably push this in anyway. And after getting this fort, I would love to see them rotate up just into the top lane, maybe. Either stay in the bot lane and just push in the keep wall really hard, or rotate up top and force One More Fight not to be able to defend in a good location. But they do actually kill the whole minion wave before the Web Weaver spawns, so it's going to spawn all the way at the keep front wall. This does give time for One More Fight to start clearing out in the top lane. Mid lane is pushed out pretty far, so it won't be an issue for a while. So One More Fight going to be able to make a pretty concerted defense, bringing 4 heroes at the moment. Rexar is only clearing. But again, at the moment, it's kind of hard to push in with these Web Weavers. They don't do a lot of siege damage by themselves, and incidental AoE hitting out on the heroes is really powerful as a defensive tool. And that is going to be the Web Weaver falling with barely any damage done to the actual keep itself. Rexar already cleared out top lane, doing a lot of damage to these Web Weavers. Especially with the Flaming Boar providing that AoE. We've got the 2 by side coming out, and a lot of AoE damage being put into the members of Yavapai. Phoenix Ult comes out, continuing to do a lot of AoE damage, not quite finding an actual kill yet, but Andrade is going to be the first to fall in this team fight. And I don't think that Yavapai are going to be able to make much of a defense after that. I like that One More Fight are taking this camp. It's going to help them push out the lanes, and in a way, the Bruisers actually help you push in better than the objective because of the spell armor that you get. So if they can get a turn-in in conjunction with the Bruisers, it's going to go really well for them in the mid lane. Although Yavapai getting their own Bruiser camp, so look to see both teams kind of scuffle and make sure they can keep their own mage minion alive so they can get the advantage in the upcoming team fight here. 4 gems remaining to be turned in. Unfortunately, is only on Rexar, and he hasn't turned in yet, so it's going to be an opportunity now for Yavapai to clear out this camp before the Web Weavers come down. It took me a sec, Ace. I had to get real close to my phone screen to identify what that was just now, but big fan. Poor gasoline-covered flaming Misha Bear. We got a 4v4 coming out now. Jim Raynor joining to make it into a 5v4, but Phoenix lands in at about the same time. Misha probably going to go down as the Web Weaver comes in as well. Echo gets pretty low, is going to get topped up very nicely by Midnight Fire, but immediately blown back up again. Really nice teamfight taken by Yavapai before their opponent's Web Weavers drop down. And that's going to be like 60 wasted gems for One More Fight, as they can't really push in with this. Like, mid lane is already dead, top lane is already getting cleared out, so it's really not the kind of turn-in that One More Fight we're looking to have here. Getting actually no value at all. Andrade getting low, I don't think this is going to kill him. Nope. Gets out just fine, and that is a very powerful defense coming out from Yavapai. But this is the weird part of the map, where neither team has a turn-in, neither team has a sufficient level advantage, and there's not really camps on this map that are super impactful. So both teams are just kind of looking to find their opponents in a bad spot. They did kind of find Newton Rocks there, and the Water Elemental is probably going to secure that kill. So normally this map is weird because both teams just kind of look for each other and avoid each other, but Yavapai finding that kill there is going to put them into a very nice position to farm up all of these gems in the mid and bot lanes and try to find level 20 and then make a team fight happen. Checking the boss, it is back up in 20 seconds, so I would not be surprised if when that happens, Yavapai just YOLO boss being up a hero in level 20. Ooh, the Ice Blink coming out from Jaina. She does have her Ice Block finished, so now she has a second sort of defensive or potentially offensive ability to use. We do have the improved Rainer's Raider. No one can stop death coming out, so truly no one can stop death. And not going to the Nano Fusion, going for the Dynamic Optics, the range and attack speed over time for Ana, which is a really powerful sieging tool, but that hasn't really been Yavapai's game plan, so I think it's a bit of a surprise pick coming out from them. We did have the Boars being used as a healing ult here, and with one more fight getting halfway now to level 20, I don't know that Yavapai are going to want to try and just YOLO rip this boss. They might just try to, like, YOLO bait the boss. Okay, no, they're definitely trying to take boss. Their opponents have to have identified this. They saw them all right here. They're going to hide the talents now. And it has been identified. Boss is down pretty low, and it looks like one more fighter not going to be able to step in and take the boss. No throw pit made. They did have to sacrifice Andrade, and probably Oraluna, and maybe several other people as well. Oh my god, that nano boost on the Tormented Souls doing so much damage there. Getting a very fast triple kill. A lot of damage being chunked out from Blue Space Hat as well. That is the 5-for-1. If you happen to have a Murda subscription, go ahead and drop the mega kills in chat, as that is likely going to be the game, as there's still 40 seconds before even the very first person comes back up with a boss barreling into the top lane. Level 20s were achieved by one more fight during that last team fight, but I don't know how much value any of those ended up getting for them, as 20 seconds with just a boss and a boss barreling onto core, and that is definitely going to be game number 1 going in favor of Yavapai. GG's and well played by them. Is that a missile? That's kind of cool looking. I don't know what that's from. Oh, it's from the Rainer's Vader, the Banshee unit. I had never looked at that closely before. Checking the endgame stat screen. Wow, Ana very significantly out-healing Rhaegar in that game. Rhaegar is not the world's highest throughput healer, but just seeing it put down on paper like that really it gives you a perspective, that's for sure. I have no idea what's happening in my background. I have no idea what that was. So if you could hear that, first off, I'd love to know what language that was, but additionally, we'll need to find out what... You know, it was probably from an NGS tab that I had open. It might have started auto-playing somebody else's stream, maybe? I don't actually know. Additionally, I also don't remember who the captain of One More Fight is, so let's go ahead and pull that up. There we go, and send them a little bit of a message to see if they want map or hero pick. Alright, bring us back to the between game screen. That was... It felt like a decently close game, right up until it wasn't a close game. Which, alrighty. We have Midnight Fire telling me that they want first hero pick, so we're going to have game number 2, map chosen once again by Yavapai County, is going to be on Volskaya Foundry. Aura, you're doing God's work. You know, I will never think Aura Luna before Aura Windrunner, and I had no idea what she could possibly have been doing involved in all this, so it took me longer than I'd like to admit to realize what you were talking about just now. Alrighty. I think this is a really smart map pick from Yavapai. Do I? No. I actually take that back. The things that Yavapai did really well in that game were teamfights. Admittedly, you have forced teamfights every couple of minutes over the objective points, but I think One More Fight did a better job of macro. They rotated better, they got camps on cooldown better, so I think this is maybe a bit of a scary map pick coming out from Yavapai. Like, the teamfight aspect does favor them, but the camps are more important on this map than they are on Tomb of the Spider Queen, so if One More Fight are able to parlay their superior macro into teamfight advantages with the camps, I think this could actually go really well for them. So, bit of an interesting pickup. I think if I were Yavapai... Ooh. I think if I were Yavapai, I would want to go into Infernal Shrines, because yes, there is macro pressure from camps that you can get, but it doesn't quite parlay into... Oh, it totally is. I did not change that. Thank you very much, Andrade. I'm a level with you, Andrade, and everybody else here in Twitch chat. I don't remember signing up for this cast. I have no memory of doing that. I didn't realize that I had a cast until I got a message from Andrade saying, "Are you ready?" at 10 minutes beforehand when it was time for the coin flip. So that's my bad. Apparently I did that and I didn't know it. But we're doing what we can. We're doing it live now. Going into game number 2 of Yavapai County, etc. versus One More Fight. Map chosen by Yavapai as they are up 1-0 and we're given map pick. And so you all out there in Twitch chat land, who do you want to win game number 2? Yavapai or One More Fight? As I think I've got a minute, so I can set up a poll, and then when the game, when the draft and everything is done, we can put that out live and see how y'all are feeling. New poll.
Upon friends.
Oh, Grievant. Oh, that wasn't Grievant. Thank you for the follows, Shunk B9 and Newton Rocks. I appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying the cast. One More Fight has potential on the next fight. As long as there is a next fight, One More Fight are never out of it. It's not until you get to the point where all of the fighting has already happened where One More Fight no longer have an opportunity. Lava Pie. That makes me think of those chocolate lava cakes that you can get at Domino's, and you know what? They're not bad. Just waiting for someone from Yavapai to be ready. We're not exactly sure who it is. Alright, here we go. Game number 2, Yavapai County, etc. versus One More Fight on Volskaya Foundry.
Volskaya Industries.
And as before, I don't really agree with this map pick from Yavapai unless they change up how they were playing. Like, I think they need a little bit more wave clear. Nope, I had absolutely no idea that I was casting. I do not remember signing up for this match, but you know what? I like both of these teams. They're both like active community members and they're frequently saying stuff in chat, so I'm happy to cast for them. I just don't have any memory of signing up to do it, which, you know, that's my bad. I should keep track of the things that I'm doing, but that's what happens when you get older. You just, as Ancient Mage said from Hearthstone, sometimes I forget things. Don't let me do impressions on stream, guys. What are you doing to me? This is what happens when I don't have a co-caster and have to fill dead space. I just start quoting Hearthstone cards. Deathwing, the first band coming out from One More Fight. I think this is fine, and it's an even better hero on this map than the previous one, so I think that's just a fine band coming out from One More Fight. Last time, ETC was banned out first by Yavapai. They ended up doing decently with Blaze as the main tank. And I think Blaze is like an A tier main tank, so if your plan is to get rid of the S tier tanks, then I think that's a totally viable strat. I do think it's weird banning ETC, leaving Johanna available when you don't have first pick, because she's a tank that brings wave clear, and wave clear is so amazing in this game, especially on the maps that we're playing on. Zool getting banned out a second time. I think he's a little less good here than he would have been on Infernal Shrines, but he's still one of those heroes that can totally just kind of ruin your day. And I forget who was banned out second by Yavapai in the previous series. It's ETC, and I don't actually remember. Without me, this game would have died. I don't believe you. It's very nice for you to say, but this game would definitely be happening right now if I hadn't have signed up, so... Kel'Thas, thank you for banning the same hero again to jog my memory. I appreciate it, Andre. So last time we had the first pickup Johanna, and I think that's still a totally viable pickup here. Thank you for making it seem like I know what I'm talking about, Echo, as Johanna does get first picked again. Definitely a first pick worthy hero, got a lot of value in the previous game, and once again, wave clear. It's so good, and especially with this map, it's a little bit harder to rotate just because the distances are a little bit bigger, and there's more stuff to get on the map, so you need to have just even a little bit better wave clear compared to the previous game. Speaking of better wave clear, Sylvanas brings that. Sylvanas is a phenomenal hero on this map. Honestly, since the patch, she's just gotten better because she turns towers off. But beyond that, it's not terribly uncommon for people to pick up Mercenary Queen, which does impact the turrets that you can drop, and that can make a pretty big difference in teamfights over the point, so I love to see it. And Deckard Cain is incredible. We do have a Brightwing getting picked up, so I suppose last game that was a target ban coming out from Yavapai, which this has me really interested because I love Brightwing to death, and I know she loves to death too, but I don't think she's very good right now. She did get buffed recently. I still think she's not very good right now. Unless you're taking her as a counter pick, which Sylvanas does not get countered by Brightwing, Deckard doesn't get countered by Brightwing. So I guess this just has to be a really comfortable pick for Midnight Fire, and I want to see why. And Deckard is incredible. He's actually incredible. Like, Ruby was always a strong effect, and now they've made it so that you can get a Ruby almost every time you cast Heraldric Cube. And for anyone that is unaware, all of those mini potions from Ruby are 92.5% as effective as a regular potion. Arrow, thank you so much for the raid of 11 raiders. Apparently I picked up a cast tonight and I have no memory of doing it, so we're doing that. But yeah, every one of those mini potions, over 90% the strength of regular potions, so pick up the mini potions. 6 mini potions on the ground is an ancestral just waiting for you to walk over it. It's phenomenal. Raynor is also a really good pick. Raynor just kind of excels at standing there in team fighting, and there's a forced location for standing there in team fighting, so it's a really strong pickup. Leoric, I love Leoric on this map, because even if you end up losing the objective, Leo kills it so fast that it's really hard for the enemy team to get value out of it. And Tassadar is amazing. He is my favorite hero in the game since the rework, and he's even better since he got buffed. And he excels at both wave clear and standing and fighting, so I think Tassadar is really strong on this map. Malthael getting picked up is a good soul lane matchup for Leoric. It provides a similar kind of value that Leoric does when it comes to chunking down the Protector, and Jaina is really powerful as well with all of the slows. Yeah, there's a lot of slow synergy on the side of One More Fight. I still think Brightwing's a bit of an odd choice. Like, if you shove an Ana in there instead, I think they've got a phenomenal comp. So, again, I'm really going to be looking at you, Midnight Fire. Brightwing is one of my favorite heroes. I want to see her good again. Show me that she can be good again, please. And Andred showing that he is in fact a Blaze 1 trick, and it worked out well in game number 1, so let's see it continue to work well in game 2. So, go ahead and vote in the poll who you want to win game number 2. Not necessarily who you think is going to win game number 2, but who you want to win for game number 2, because those are very different questions, and I never know quite how to answer it when a caster asks who is going to win. Like, do I think who is more likely to win, or do you want to know who I want to win? Because those are very different questions. I do think that one more fight could use just a little bit better portrait synergy. Like, even if just Jaina picked a Carbot portrait right now, Hellstorm, that would be even better. So definitely continuing to give portrait synergy in favor of Yavapai, but I mean that's only kind of like a tiebreaker. You don't necessarily base who you want to win on portrait synergy most of the time. Although if B-Med were here, he'd probably want Yavapai to win because they've all got Monkey King Samuros, and most of them have the green one. So, what do I know? Aurora Luna's Potato Computer keeping us a little bit behind, starting game number 2 with Yavapai spawning on the left-hand side in the blue trunks with Shank B9 playing the Tassadar, and thank you for the follow. Blue Space Hat playing Sylvanas. Andred reprising his role as Blaze. Megamilk playing the Leoric, and Aurora Luna playing Deckard Payne. And on the right-hand side, in the red trunks, looking to take us to a game number 3, we have Echo playing Johanna, Newton Rocks playing Jim Raynor, Midnight Fire playing Brightwing, Hellstorm on the Jaina, and in the bot lane we have Miss Steltine playing the Leoric, sorry, playing the Malthael, and I wish someone would have told me how to pronounce that.
Blessing upon friends!
Thank you, Littenvarg, for the follow. I appreciate it. Good luck, have fun coming out in the chat. And everyone playing really far back right now. A couple of things to note. We do have Sylvanas stacking the Shadow Dagger. We've got stacking as well on the Q coming out from Tassadar, which isn't my favorite talent, but it is good on these teamfighty kind of maps, so we'll look to see him getting quite a few stacks as the game goes on. We have Sapphire coming out, which has been a little bit less popular these days because at 4 you can basically throw out a Ruby with every W, so you don't see quite as many Sapphires getting picked up recently, but it's still a very strong talent overall, so I'm never sad to see that getting picked up. On the other side, we do have Ace in the Hole, go to Laws of Hope, actually, and not going into the improved D for Johanna, which I think is a bit of an interesting choice considering the Blaze and Deckard crowd control. We have Blue Space Hat immediately taking this camp down here. I think they use trait to make sure that they can take it without a significant amount of damage being taken. And Megamilk is going to come in probably basically just to get the glow, maybe even just to pick it up and hold on to the turret. And on the other side, we do have Midnight Fire, Newton Rocks, and Hellstorm making a 3-person rotation down to finish out this camp as well. Midnight Fire is a little bit low. I wouldn't be surprised if they just backed off and used their Z to come back in because they did go cooldown reduction on 1. Tassadar already getting 4 stacks, which is pretty decent. Every hit on Q gives 5 extra damage on subsequent Q hits, so the number you see on there isn't the number of times he's hit it. Obviously 20 would be way too much for right now. It is 5 times the number of times that they've been hit. Megamilk taking quite a bit of damage, rotating up to try and just double soak a little bit, but not getting a ton done there. We actually don't have Ruby. We have Potion of Shielding on Deckard Cain, which begs the question, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, why are you playing Deckard Cain if you're not taking Ruby right now? Like, that's the actual reason people are playing Deckard, and it's a phenomenal talent. Bit of an actual teamfight going on here as Misteltine doing some damage onto Megamilk, but not going to be able to get a whole lot done, and it is kind of low on mana. I wonder if they're going to... Yep, they're going to full back as the objective is coming up. A little bit of engage attempt coming in from Blaze here, but isn't going to find that stun that he's looking for. And we did have the Polymorph come out. Shank B9, probably... Yeah, just getting the auto attack charge. If you don't know, every tick of Tassidar's auto attack does increase damage until you get fully charged. And with that level 4 that he went, he gets additional shielding as well as improved mana regen while you're fully charged. So look to see him staying topped up on charge the whole time, so you can get that extra sustain and damage. We do have a 5 versus 4 as Malthael is in the bottom lane still, but it's actually being won by the side of one more fight. Already dropping their opponent's item and keeping theirs alive, so really well done by them. Andre in a bit of a weird spot. Does get Polymorph, has to walk away. And that is going to be the initial charge going over in favor of one more fight. Andre missing out on the jet propulsion. And just kind of having to walk away. Ooh, Shunk B taking quite a bit of damage. That shield is going to keep him decently healthy, but not able to find any additional value. They do see Malthael in the bottom lane along with Jaina, so maybe you're going to look to take an engagement. Tassadar making sure to get the auto attacks in every time that he can to keep that shield up. Additionally, every time he lands a Q from that level 1 is going to give him 33% of full charge, so those Qs not only help him to get it started, but also help to keep his charge up for as long as possible. Up the level 7s coming in from both sides. We actually have, that's Dream Shot on 4 and Sticky Flare on 7, so really interesting Brightwing build coming out. Going full Q after level 1, and that is going to be the first kill onto Johanna getting blocked up by the Tassadar wall. There's a couple of heroes, like Deathwing and Johanna players, they just kind of get caught by Tassadar a little bit more than everyone else because they're used to that unstoppable getting them out of every bad situation, and Tassadar just doesn't let that happen. Interesting. We've got Tassadar going into, what is it, Beam Alignment? Yeah, Beam Alignment on 4, which increases his auto attack range, which lets him keep his full charge up more often, but it also reduces the cooldown of his Q every time he is at full charge. He's going to be chunking out Qs, which can potentially do a lot of damage. The thing I don't like about that talent, though, is every time you cast Q, you have to stand still for 2 seconds while you're channeling it. So being able to use it more often means you stand still more often, so it puts you into a dangerous, kind of scary position where your opponents can just kind of walk at you if you're not positioned really well. Although with both Blaze and Leoric, they've got a pretty beefy front line, so maybe they'll be able to keep Tassadar safe enough that he'll be able to just stand out and chunk that damage. And we are at a full charge now, basically from both teams, so whoever gets control of this is going to be getting the first objective. A lot of damage coming out. Andre gets a big stun, but is going to be the first to fall. Mr. Zeltine gets brought down very low. Brightwing popping trait to get people out of the CC. Actually, a really nice root coming out from Deckard Cain is going to allow Tassadar to put some additional damage in there. But unfortunately, look how low all those health bars are. With a little bit better focus fire, I think that they could have gotten a couple of kills, and that would have been a lot better for them. As it is, first objective is going over in favor of one more fight. And I love this call from them, only doing a little bit of damage into the mid wall before rotating into the top lane to try and get that well. Brightwing immediately using Emerald Wind, I think maybe to prevent Blaze from coming in on them, or it was just a mistake. I don't like this as much. They're putting a lot of damage into the fort, but I don't think they get the fort. They do get the well, which is nice, but now they're pretty far in. Might have to, yeah, we do see the Blessed Shield getting used immediately when the Triglav pops, so that they can't get engaged upon by their opponents because they do not yet have their own level 10s. Looks like they might be rotating down to try and get some damage into Malthael. Nope, just Neo. Everyone else is just going to the camp. But that did get a full level lead over in favor of one more fight. And yeah, that's just generally going really well for them. They did pick up their fortification camp during the objective, which their opponents did not. They do pick it up now. Ooh, Jaina actually, along with Johanna in the top lane, trying to force this top fort down. Brightwing is there for the possible disengage Emerald Wind if necessary. Top does not. We do actually have the force wall coming in, catching Brightwing. She pops the Emerald Wind, but that was one of those peeling rings of frost that you don't see too very often. Very little health remaining on that top fort. I would not be surprised if they just try to crash into it at some point in the relatively near future. But with a couple of ults getting used, this is going to be one more fight having to defend against the Biotic Emitter being taken from Yavapai, deciding that they can't actually take that fight. And that's going to be a powerful item over in favor of Yavapai for the next objective. camp now getting taken from one more fight. This puts them, I think, even on total camps taken, but probably slight advantage now for Yavapai as the biotic emitter, generally considered a little bit stronger than the turret camp. I saw we had Cone of Cold Whip, which I see more and more, and I honestly just don't get it. Like, Frost Shards is pretty good, but getting the extra cooldown reduction on Q is... Admittedly, I'm biased. That's how I learned how to play Jaina, and not everyone has to play the same way, but I love getting the cooldown reduction on Q. Ooh, Leo getting caught in a bit of a weird spot. He's going to have to Spooky Walk away immediately. Will get down, brought to about halfway, and just going to get healed up by Deckard Cain. Might tap, decides not to. Nice little bit of damage put in there from one more fight, but nothing too consequential as they pick up now their level 13 talents. Actually, a fair bit of damage being put into Johanna, but able to walk away with the power of the D-Shield and the Laws of Hope. And here we have Hellstorm looking to maybe try to get that top fort down, but doing the damage into the minion wave first, and yeah, this is gonna... There's no way for Yavapai to actually defend this. First fort of the game going over in favor of one more fight in the lane that is being contested by the next objective, so really strong position coming out from them. Another engage attempt coming out into Leoric is not going to find any purchase, however. This gank attempt, obviously it didn't work, and is... Oh, a bit of a bush party coming in, maybe identifying that Hellstorm does like to lead out into these engagements. Andre missing the jet propulsion once again. That's a lot of ults coming out for the side of one more Yavapai, and they actually get blown up first. We do have the bunker come down to try and keep some of their heroes alive. The Stay a While Listen providing a lot of disengage, but not enough for Blaze to get out, not enough for Tassadar to get out either. Luna might be able to get out, but he's just an old man. He can't chase, and that is definitely going to be the old man falling at some point, and really smart positioning from Jimmy Rayner, actually giving them a lot of early objective time. So really good team fight from one more fight there. They got engaged upon, admittedly not very well. Sorry, Andre, but that's at least the second, if not third, jet propulsion from a bush that you've missed this game, and that probably would have made that team fight go a lot more in Yavapai's favor if that ability in particular had landed. So at this point, it's going to be difficult for Yavapai to try and make much of an engagement. And even if they do run into the top lane or are able to stall at the objective, their opponents just get 16 to win it anyway. So I think letting them take it immediately is even the smarter play. We do have camps being taken up by both sides at this point, and that is going to be the uncontested objective going over in favor of one more fight, as they should probably head basically immediately to the bottom lane to try and set up the third objective. The objective on this map, I think, has kind of weird scaling, where the first one does very little. It maybe gets the well for the next lane. The second one usually gets the well in the third lane, and the third one will often just end the game outright. So I think that they could use a little bit better scaling on this guy, but as it is, we do have them running, just barreling into that bottom fort, actually leaving the bottom tower up, still getting damage in onto the Triglob. A little bit of a weird ordering there coming out from the drivers in the Triglob. It's still at about half health, now down to 30% health, and trying to get some damage into the fort, but once again, it gets brought down very low, rather quickly by the members of Yavapai, so they can see that their Malthael is in the mid lane still, so if they wanted to try and take a 5v4 as this came down, I would not blame them, but they do split out Leoric to try and match the soaking that's coming out from one more fight, as they do not yet have the 16s for themselves. That is the Triglav falling down, and once again we have the peeling Bless Shield come out from the Johanna. Really well done by them, just to make sure that Yavapai can't even try to find an advantageous team fight there. And with Leo spotted in the top lane, look to see one more fight rotate and just take out this mid fort here. Actually, just going to let Leo do it. Everyone else is going to go on the biotic emitter. I think that's an even better play. We do have Yavapai rotating in that direction. Thank you, Murda, so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. We're here watching a nice Div E matchup between One More Fight and Yavapai. One More Fight currently up in this game, but down in the series overall, 1-0.
Upon friends.
Thank you for the follows. I really appreciate it, everybody. I don't know why my activity feed on my phone isn't updating as much as I'd like it to, but we'll have to check out all of the follows that we got during this game when it's over. I really appreciate it. And we do have the 6 teams now picked up from both sides, with Leo looking to do a bit of a spooky walk engage, the Ring of Frost not hitting out onto anyone, and Brightwing's ult is down. We've got the first Entomb that I remember seeing this game. It's going to do a lot of damage, and that is going to secure the first kill out on Jaina. Newton Rocks is able to walk on out of there. Echo probably walks out of there as well, and taking a really nice 5v4 fight in the bottom lane, as Malthael was still in the mid lane, identifying that they're not going to be able to try and make a team fight, just goes off and continues soaking lanes, getting them closer to 20. But yeah, speaking out onto interesting talents, we do have Decker Kane with the safety in numbers, which you have to have 4 people in a relatively close area, but admittedly that just kind of happens in here. We've also got the Executor's Will coming out from Tassadar, which gives cooldown reduction and I think ability power? Spell power and cooldown reduction, as long as from the time at which you use the ability, it charges up your trait, and as long as that trait stays at full charge, that's the duration of that ability. So in a really long, protracted teamfight, that can get a lot of value. And one of the lesser known aspects of Archon is that it puts your trait at full charge the whole time that you're in it. So if you can pop those 2 abilities in conjunction, you can get a Archon that is giving you spell power and cooldown reduction, and every auto attack that you do while in Archon reduces the spell armor of your target. So that's a lot of swingy damage potential coming out from Shank B9. Bit of an engagement attempt coming out, but not actually finding it. In the bottom lane, we're going to see this fort going down, which is going to set up the 3rd objective nicely, and although they did give up a kill in the previous big gank inning, that double soak that Malthael was doing is going to see them getting level 20 about in time for this objective. I want to see one more fight leave immediately. I love that disengage coming out from Midnight Fire. Entomb comes out, Ring of Frost coming in for some counter damage. Level 20s being picked up during the team fight. 2 kills go down, only Leo actually picking up a level 20 by this point. Andrade is going to get chunked down, and that is going to be another stack for Leoric. And level 20s coming online for one more fight. Just getting a ton of value. Actually getting a counter kill onto Jaina there. Tassadar death rattling out that Q, but that is going to be 4 for 2 in favor of one more fight, as we have 2 members still trying to push down and only Decker Kane left alive. 39 viewers. Thank you everyone for sticking around for these raids. I really appreciate it. I know that I don't stick around for about half the raids that I get sent on, so having so many people stay here makes me feel really good about the way that this whole casting thing is going. Checking out the level 20s, we do have the Exterminator Execute coming out from... I should know that. I used to play a warrior in World of Warcraft. Coming out from Jim Raynor. We actually are holding level 20 for Jaina. Blinded by the Light from Johanna. No One Can Stop Death, and Continuous Winds? Intensive Winds coming out from the Brightwing, which is a ridiculous talent. It puts your Emerald Wind cooldown to 5 seconds, but increases its mana cost very significantly. We've got Brightwing porting back in from death right now, and that is going to be the Triglav coming down. There's only 2 people here to try and actually get in the Triglav at the moment. There we go. There's the rest of the team meeting up, except for the Jaina, who's not quite here yet. But the Triglav at this point is just going to try and barrel through into the bottom lane. We do have our Tassadar fully stacked on that level 1 quest, so hitting for an additional 250 damage per Q. Just a ton of damage being chunked out by him. And look how fast the Triglav is falling, already down to 50% and lowering, not even getting the full front wall down. We did have the Executor's Will being popped by the Tassadar, so got that extra spell power and cooldown reduction, and that is the Triglav getting chunked down to 10% basically immediately. Hellstorm does get engaged upon. They still don't have level 20s for Yavapai, so a decent Entomb comes out, but not burying anybody alive quite yet. He is going to be the first to fall in this team fight. Tassadar coming in with the Archon. I can't tell if the Executor's Will is still active or not. Looks like it is. So lots of damage being put out by him, and he's been able to keep that up basically the whole time that they're being pushed into, but that's still 2 kills for nothing in favor of one more fight, as they really want to get this keep down. I don't know if they'll be able to end here, because Leo is going to be coming out relatively soon. They definitely secured this bottom keep, and it looks like they do want to try and end here. Megamilk coming in pretty soon. Tassadar still has that Executor's Will active. You can see the kind of after-image effect that he's got on him. That's how you can tell that that's still active. But they're still not level 20, and it looks like one more fight deciding that that is the end of this fight, and they're going to find another fight later in this game for them to take instead, as they're just going to go ahead and invade on their opponent's camp and set up for that mythical 4th objective. Oh, I appreciate it, Satellite Jack. I like that I still find it kind of amusing when people use 4s for A's. I'm 30 years old. I shouldn't be amused by that anymore, but, you know. Being an adult, honestly, is just enjoying all the same things that you did as a teenager, except not caring what people think anymore. So in that regard, it's better. It's a little bit worse because you have to, like, pay for things, but, you know, trade-offs. Both teams looking to take some camps, although the more impactful camps definitely getting picked up by one more fight, as though we are maybe going to have an engagement happening here, Brightly using the Emerald Wind to make sure that they can't actually take a team fight. However, a really nice Ring of Frost coming in. We do have the level 20s coming in. The Buried Alive is going to do a lot of damage. We don't have the Respect the Elderly coming in, so no silence off of the Stay a While. Andre gets chunked down. It's 2 kills for 1 in favor of one more fight, although it looks like we're going to be trading out Malthael, who can just come back from death. I believe they still have that off cooldown. Jane falls. Tassadar falls as well. Looks like we don't have Malthael deciding to come back from death quite yet. Deciding there's not enough value to be had in it. Deciding to just stay 3 for 3. And to be fair, I think that that's probably a good call. Like, having just an additional Malthael probably doesn't get a lot for them here, so I like the call to just hold out onto that really long cooldown. We do have the level 20s get picked up. Had not mentioned them previously. Buried Alive, Bottomless Flasks, Deafening Blast, Twilight Archon, and I don't know what the Blaze one is called. Burn Notice, so stacking damage and also slowing. So really strong talents getting picked up at level 20. We did have the Punish getting picked up at the Subdue rather getting picked up at level 7. It's one of those talents that even if you never complete the quest, it actually almost always gets value because hitting 2 people happens so frequently that 80% slow is almost the standard at a certain point. So because Malthael didn't use that No One Can Stop Death, it will be available for this objective fight. So if he goes down early, they can just re-engage and try to get basically a 6v5 as this teamfight goes on. But as mentioned before, the scaling on this map is really powerful for the objective itself, so I would not be surprised if whoever wins this teamfight actually ends up winning the game. A really big Ring of Frost coming out from Jaina, hitting out onto 3. Follow on Blizzard, and additional damage going to find Aura Luna as the first to fall. Healing is still active at the point, however, because they do have the Bottomless Flasks, that is going to be a lot of damage being put out into Mega Milk, but picking up the super healing potions, there we go, is going to get Mega Milk topped off nicely, and the Twilight Archon and the Bottomless Flasks actually scary enough to chase Yavapai, or to chase one more fight off. Malthael, however, returns to make this into a 5v4 with items. So look to see them take that 5v4 that they were given by virtue of that talent. We do still have Shank trying to get damage with that Twilight Archon. The shield on that does not regenerate. It gives you a 40% shield when you use it, but at this point the only shield that's left is the one that you get from his level 4 ability, which just gives him up to 15%, which is a lot less than 40. So we do have the 5v4 coming in, although they do have the healing pots. Andre getting caught in a bit of a rough spot here, but is able to back away. There's only 14% currently for one more fight, so they're probably just going to back up until their Deckard King can get here, because he does have that Stay a While and that additional CC. Andre, I think, was killed by pathing there. He got caught kind of in this area right here and wasn't able to get out of there. And Tassadar, I love him to pieces, but once you get on a Tassadar, he just kind of dies. Like, he's very fight it out until, you know, someone wins, Tassadar or his opponents, because especially picking up the level 4 and the Oracle on 13, really, at a certain point, you just kind of have to stand there and fight because you can't get out. But with 30 seconds left, I don't know if this fight is going to be able to go in favor of Yavapai. Leo does come back to try and get some damage done with that Buried Alive, but he is going to fall. And with 20 seconds until Blaze comes up, Aura Luna might be the best healer, but is not enough of a defense, and that is going to be game number 2 in favor of one more fight, and we're going to be going into a game number 3, the ace match, the rubber match, between Yavapai County, etc. I'm not going to try and say the whole thing again, I told you. Start of the stream only. Between Yavapai and one more fight. Got our game number 3. Checking out our summary screen here. Brightwing, out-healing Deckard Cain. It's a bit of a surprise, but only, again, I think because Potion of Shielding isn't Ruby. I really like Sapphire, don't get me wrong. That additional slow is incredible. But Ruby, it's so good. But there was actually a lot of good value with the Emerald Winds coming out from Midnight Fire, so I wouldn't say that I'm a believer yet, but like I'm slightly more hopeful than I was. Andrade, oh. As a bit of a PSA, if you're a captain, please put out, please turn on accepting of messages from players not on their friends list. Because, like, when the caster says, hey, do you want map or hero pick going into game number 3, and I can't actually get a hold of him, that's a little bit difficult, so we'll just throw it into NGS chat, see if we can get him there. Possibly the two captains are friends with each other and are just kind of having that conversation without me, but I like to be part of the conversation. Looking at some of the other statistics, dang, Tassadar, 126,000 to Rainer's 86,000. That's just a phenomenal amount of hero damage. Like, that Q build, it can do a lot of damage. I just don't like how often you have to root yourself with that Q. But, I mean, it worked, so let's go Ektar and one more fight. We're going to a map for game 3. I should probably update the standings and things for the previous game. Let's go ahead and update the score. 1-1, won by the right team. We've got ourselves a Battlefield of Eternity picked by Yavapai, and we actually had a 50-50 split on the previous vote, so half of you were right. Thank you, Sai, for unlocking your Ektar Shock and spamming that in the chat. Big fan. I love that emote to pieces. And I'm going to drink some of my blood orange flavored sparkling water beverage with other natural flavors because my throat is starting to hurt. Alrighty, there's 28 of you. Who do you want to win game number 3? This time it is who do you want to win, not who you think's going to win. We'll put that poll into chat later. Looks like we're just waiting on a couple of people to get on into the lobby. So, just, you know, killing time until then. Let me go ahead and actually check OBS to see if the bands look a little better. Ban. Yeah, we don't have 8 bands this time, so round 1. I should write what that letter is for. There we go. It's not just E, it's Division E. Get this man a cough drop. You know, I think I've got some Ricola in the freezer. So I might be taking a couple of those afterwards. Ooh, or I might just make some honey vanilla chamomile tea. I think from Celeste is the company that makes it. It's so good. All right, we've got everyone in the lobby. Drop the R. Let them know that we're ready to go ahead and get on into game number 3. Are you all ready to get into game number 3? Not that your readiness has much of a bearing on the match itself, but you know, I like the engagement. It makes me feel good talking to not just myself this whole time. Actually, let me bring up the window here. We had a couple of absolutely nothings get redeemed. Big fan. And I think that might have been the notification that was. We did have a follow 15 minutes ago from, oh boy, Cytiacidine. Cytiacidine. That's how we're going to pronounce that. Y'all in your Twitch chat names, man. I love how One More Fight was unfazed from the first game. I love that too. Like, they really came into game number 2 like game number 1 never happened. But getting on into game number 3, we've got Battlefield of Eternity. A very different... oh, looks like we're going to have a bit of a reset. Player having a CPU problem. So... yeah, we're going to have someone drop as they're having a bit of an issue here. I think. Midnight Fire saying that they're good. Alright, we had someone who was having a bit of an issue. Seems to be... oh, it's... and we're gone. We did have an ETC get banned out. So we do need to have ETC stay banned. Looks like everyone is now leaving the lobby. We're going to throw that back to the between game screen. I think they're probably going to remake the whole lobby in its entirety. I shouldn't have picked a bird-inspired name. I mean, you should pick whatever name that you like having, but I just don't know how to pronounce it. So if you put it in, if you like type it out, I will try and pronounce it better in the future. Also, tea is better than coffee. I agree. I do drink coffee on occasion because it does have more caffeine, so if I really need to be awake in the morning, I will have coffee, but tea is definitely my more common beverage by a significant margin. Yeah, looks like they're in another lobby, so I'm gonna have to leave this one and join in that next one. At least you didn't name yourself after that Hawaiian fish that people like to bring up as names that are ridiculous to pronounce. Oh, he's not in the lobby. Okay. Andre's in a lobby, but I can't whisper him. So, it's a pain in the butt to pronounce just like the bird. What kind of bird is it? Is it like a songbird, a bird of prey? It's like a little finch. I'm personally somewhat partial to kingfishers. We produce high quality yeah here? Absolutely. All the yeahs. Unless you're talking about that birth control that existed for a few years. We're not a big fan of that kind of yeah. Oh, we produce high quality tea here. That's very different. And in 40 seconds, you're going to be real confused. Coffee is basically a heretical juice. I mean, I don't want to shame people for their beverages, just like I wouldn't shame someone for enjoying pineapple on their pizzas. It's just not what I would choose. I will, however, shame people for their choice in preferred sheep Pokemon. That is the hill I will die on. By the way, if you do have any investment in the Woolly Wars of Nexus Gaming Series, there have been some musings about having a revenge match between the Nexus Mareeps and the Nexus Wooloos, so keep an eye and an ear out for that in the near future. Alright, getting on into the lobby. Got just a little bit, just one more person actually to join at the lobby. Remember, ETC got banned before we dropped, so he must be banned now. A little bit of a rules reminder for everyone. I'm not particularly surprised, like ETC's been banned out all the time anyway. the best sheep Pokemon is Flaffy. That's an interesting stance to take. I never really liked Flaffy because it becomes less fluffy. Like, I like Mareep. I like Wooloo better, but Flaffy, it looks like you just took a Mareep and you got it chubby, and then you shaved off its lower half. If that's what you like, cool, but like, alright. I don't get it, but you do you, man. Or woman. Or child. Or other. You do you. I'll just ban him 3 now, so you still can't pick him. Gotta throw out the Caster R, let him know that we're ready to go here. Coffee is just tea made with a different plant. That is a hot take, Pet Wolverine, and I like it, actually. I disagree because they're made differently. Like, you don't use the same process for producing coffee as you do for tea, for the most part. Although, making matcha tea and making Turkish coffee is actually pretty similar. So maybe from that regard, I can see what you're talking about. Anywho, getting into Battlefield of Eternity, we need to see that ETC getting banned out by Yavapai. So, I guess this means that this map was then chosen by one more fight. So, I need to get that updated. Chosen by the right team. I love half-naked Flaffy. Alright, man. I wanted to like Ampharos when I first got it, but it's just so slow. It's like real powerful, but real slow. You know, oh my god, Ampharos is Tassadar. He's real slow, but he chunks out damage. I now like Ampharos a lot better than I did 2 minutes ago. Zool getting banned out for the 3rd game in a row. I don't know if I love it on this map. Like, yeah, Zool is good, but he doesn't win the soul lane that hard, I don't think, but maybe they just really don't want to have to deal with the Poison Nova or the Skeletal Mages or something. It's all just flavored water anyway. This is a big fact. I am in fact drinking blood orange flavored sparkling water right now. Most things that we consume are just flavored water. It's like milk or some variety of flavored water. Li Ming getting banned out, so not banning out Kel'Thas for the first time this series. Ming's a better ban on this map. However, they did have first pick, so maybe they could have opted to just take the Li Ming. But maybe deciding they want to pick up the Johanna for the first time this series if she doesn't get banned out here. That's what I would expect to see, because I always expect to see Johanna or ETC getting first picked if they're available. Yo, Mega Ampharos has some phenomenal hair. It's like Sephiroth level of hair for Mega Ampharos. It's majestic is in fact the word, so well done there. Greymane getting picked up here for the first time this series. He's great on this map. Like, he does all the things that you want a hero to do on this map. He races well, he camps well, he chunks damage out. He does your taxes. He'll take your kids to and from school, and he'll also, like, lead local government effectively. So Greymane, really top-tier hero for this map. Vala and Johanna. Johanna is less valuable on this map than on most because it's only 2 lanes, so her wave clear is much less of an impact. And Vala is one of those hit-or-miss kind of heroes. She does really well in the Immortal race, but she's so easy to kill. Diablo and Anduin getting picked up from Andrade and Oraluna, so not taking the Blaze this time. I think that's... I really like Diablo on this map because there's so many just random rocks to wall slam people into. Caffeinated flavored water. Yeah, that is my preferred kind of flavored water, but I'm trying not to stay up until 2 in the morning today, so I'm having non-caffeinated flavored water at the moment. Respecting the Tassadar by banning that out. I don't know how I feel about that. But, obviously, one more fight thought that Tassadar was chunking out just too much damage. He doesn't race particularly well, so it's whatever. It's fine. I don't think he's the scariest mage that Yavapai could pick up here, but he's definitely a bannable target. And the final ban is going to be Rhaegar. I think that's a great ban. Rhaegar is just good in this map because he's one of the few healers that can actually aid in race. Plus, they've got a Vala already, so going into a Bloodlust comp could have been really strong from one more fight, and Bloodlust has just been on the rise in popularity recently. And a Malthael. Like, you throw Bloodlust on top of what they're showing right now, that'd be terrifying. So I think that Rhaegar ban was really smart coming out from Yavapai. But going back into the Comfort Wing, I can't blame them for that. It worked out well in the previous game, and also it's Brightwing, and also it's the Emerald Deathwing skin of Brightwing. It's so adorable and so monstrously murderous. And if any of you were to go ahead and drop a follow, you'd get to hear a Brightwing voice line popping over the stream. So if you're as big a fan of Brightwing as I am, go ahead and drop me a follow. Hanzo and Artanis, two of the BOE staples coming out here. Hanzo a little bit less so since his sharpened arrowheads took a nerf actually quite a while back, but he's still reasonably popular. And Artanis got a little bit of love in the last patch. I don't know that it's going to be too much of a impact here because he's almost certainly going to go into amateur opponents on one and not the new talent. But I think he also just got some baseline buffs, and Artanis has always been viable on BOE, so love to see it getting picked up here by Mega Milk. And finishing out game 3 out of 3 on the Jaina for Hellstorm. I don't think I actually made the poll, so we're going to go ahead and quickly, before this finishes out, make a poll to see who you all think is going to win game number 3. Let's go ahead and manage poll, new poll, typing. Bam! Poll started. 45 seconds from now, you'll hear a poll getting started. Level 101 Brightwing right here. Had to unfollow to refollow. That is impressive, Arrow. 101 levels of anyone is impressive, but especially with Brightwing. She's been so not great for so long. And I don't know that you actually get the Streamlabs notification if you were already following, so I don't know if that's going to actually play through for you. Blessing upon friends. That is the one. There's a couple of other things that can trigger some Brightwing voice lines. I think bit donations do sharing is caring, and that might actually be it. But don't throw bits into stream. I do not stream enough for you to throw any amount of money at me. I am already beyond thankful for the subs that I have. I don't think it works if you were already following, unfortunately. But we have now finally game number 3. Who is going to win the totality of the series? Is it going to be Yavapai, or is it going to be one more fight? We're going to find out over the course of the next 15 to 35 minutes as we have spawning on the left-hand side in the blue trunks, Yavapai County, etc., with Mega Milk playing the Artanis, Blue Space Hat playing Greymane, Andrade playing Diablo, Shank B9 playing the Hanzo, and Aura Luna playing Anduin. And on the right-hand side in the red trunks, winners of game number 2, they are one more fight with Newton Rocks twerking around on the Vala, Midnight Fire playing Brightwing, Echo playing Jaina, Hellstorm playing Jaina, and Mistelteen, who I will pronounce differently every time, playing the Malthael. We've got the big Stukov reaching for some chocolate 2% milk. That looks delicious, actually. I'm a fan of fight milk made from cows. Oh boy, check out the level 1. We've got Redemption Hanzo. That's a bit of an interesting pickup here. Q build from Vala. I think reasonably standard talents. It is the amateur opponent. And I think Devil's Due is maybe a little bit less the standard pick in normal maps. I mostly actually see Diablo and Brawl these days taking that talent, but it's still definitely got a lot of value, especially during the laning phase, being able to pick up those globes. And is not running with scissors this game. If you are unfamiliar with Anduin, if you use his Divine Star ability on one of these interior walls before the game starts, the projectile goes out and never comes back, so Anduin just runs around with his sword out until he dies the whole time, and it's amazing, and every Anduin player should do it because it's silly. That's my PSA for the day. We do have a pretty even lane matchup in the bottom lane. A little bit more damage coming out for the side of One More Fight, and a little bit more healing coming out for the side of Yavapai, but really neither team's getting a lot of value at this point. Midnight Fire is going to port into the top lane to make this an advantageous team fight for the Malthael player. Doing so leaves Johanna stranded in the bot lane and is going to be the first to fall, and Mega Milk gets chunked down to about 30%. However, this is going to allow Yavapai to take position on this camp in the bottom lane, although Jin is probably going to try to do the same with Malthael in the top lane. There we go. Mistletoe is stepping in to help take that camp immediately. Sorry, Arrow laughing at something. I'm not entirely sure what, but, you know, engagement is engagement is engagement. Midnight Fire is going to be able to get themselves out of there. Does drop the D cleanse from Brightwing. It's not Soothing Mist. I have no idea what that ability is actually called. But is able to walk away from the Diablo engage as the level 4s now get picked up for both teams, taking one camp each. We do have already Greymane and Anduin stepping in here to take their camp as the objective is beginning to spawn now. So nice and early coming up for the side of Yavapai, and not yet started for the side of One More Fight. Kind of the opposite of what we've seen previously in this series. Taking it immediately, I think they could have afforded to hold on to that for another 5 or 10 seconds, so that it would be in the lane during the objective instead of before it. But it looks like One More Fight are already pretty much rotating it, although Newton Rocks is still here. So still able to get that camp cleared out pretty well, but this will give time for Yavapai to get the immediate placement on the first objective. Camp being taken on the right-hand side now. Midnight Fire should have their Z available to save Echo right here if they so desire, but used a little bit too late, and that is going to be Jaina falling. Is Soothing Mist the active part? I guess the whole thing is her trait, so yeah, Soothing Mist I always think about just being the healing and not the active part of it, but whatever. We did have Hanzo finishing out the Redemption and going into the Sharpened Arrowheads on 4, and that is a very quick, almost full Shield Immortal in favor of Yavapai County. Very fast, actually. Normally that first objective takes a little bit longer to go out. Going into the top lane, I think that you're mostly right. It's the only, like, true cleanse that does. Yrel can use her talented Hand of Freedom, I think, on 4 on roots that apply to herself. But in general, I think you are correct. We do have most of the team pushing in the bot lane. Only Artanis is pushing in the top lane, trying to get that off lane just because, well, that's how they decided to do the lane arrangements. So they get the entirety of the front wall in the bot lane, most of the front wall actually, in the top lane. And in particular, this means that Yavapai are already in position. They've got their 4-man where they want to. So they're going to try and push him, probably take this well if they can, but it looks like enough people from One More Fight have rotated down that it's not going to be easy. Blue Space Hack gets brought down pretty low. Andre gets down about 70% or so. And Malthael is going to go back into the top lane, trade back out with Vala, as you definitely want Vala in your 4-man over Greymane. But yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, if you use Brightwing's Soothing Mist active, the cleanse, it has a slight delay before the effect actually pulses out, so you can get hit with like a Butcher Charge and cleanse yourself out of it if you do it right. Camp getting taken by Yavapai. Very slight XP lead for them based on just the towers. A little bit of engage coming out into Johanna. Echo doesn't have the D shield available, even though going into the Iron Skin level 1. And that is going to be the 3rd kill over in favor of Yavapai. Really looking strong on this map right now. Even though they don't have any real advantages, they're just kind of pushing in and being aggressive. Bit of an engagement coming out from the Diablo, but does Shadow Charge not deal damage if you don't actually get the charge on? Because the tower didn't start targeting him there before. Interesting. But finding another kill onto Brightwing, Andre is just like being really oppressive this match. Just kind of standing around and charging at people and getting a lot of value and damage on this Diablo. The objectives are spawning in aggressive positions, or I guess the position where it is easier to defend from, so I guess defensive positions. A lot of damage actually getting put into Yavapai as Megalo gets brought down very low, has to get yanked out by Araluna. Andre, however, isn't going to be able to walk out, and that is a Souls reset going over for one more fight. Malthael gets killed as well, but Hanzo pays the price for that kill with his own life. That is level 10s picked up, but there's still a Hanzo dead for Yavapai. And it looks like maybe they're going to be able to get this to halfway, which I think probably favors one more fight because they don't have level 10s yet. They get it to almost halfway, as level 10s are going to be coming in just a sec. Looking at the level 10s for Yavapai, we've got Dragon Strike. Not a talent I see get taken very often. We've got the Artanis Laser, Apocalypse, Go for the Throat, and Holy Word Salvation, henceforth known as Cinematography because it is from the Warcraft cinematic. Brightwing going into that Emerald Wind again. We've got Ring of Frost, Blessed Shield, Rain of Vengeance, and Last Rites coming out from the Malthael. A little bit of a swap coming out onto Malthael, but Malthael has kind of swapped himself back. Popping that level 1 to get himself away from the Artanis Laser. Brightwing pushing everyone away, pushing that into a Ring of Frost. Really well done by them, but the Cinematography is going to stop the immediate follow-on damage, although Diablo is basically made of paper mache and is going to be the first to fall in the second team fight. Echo, however, is very low. James is going to be the next to fall from the Go for the Throat. Looks like they didn't quite get the reset. Oh, unfortunately, there is going to go Hanzo next. That's my dog. He's an angry boy. Currently 4 versus 3 if we can get Brightwing back in on time for the rest of this team fight. The objectives are spawning in neutral positions, and I think that Yavapai are going to have a tough time finishing this out. Especially with Johanna here propping the blinds. It's very close, however. Brightwing does come in and gets a polymorph onto the Greymane so they can't do as much damage, and that is barely going to be the objective in favor of one more fight. Only 1200 shielding going onto this Immortal as it barrels through into the bottom lane. I always like to see teams try to fight over these globes if you are the team that won, because each of those globes is like 8%, so 2 globes is 16% of your total health. It's really significant, actually. Like, people don't respect HP globe, the regen globes enough. And if you've got the regen emote, go ahead and spam the regen globe in chat. Hellstorm gets engaged upon, the Blessed Shield comes out as a disengage. Diablo gets caught out, but the Cinematography is going to keep him alive for most of the follow-on damage, but not quite enough of it, and that is going to be the 3rd Diablo death coming out from Andre here. Unfortunately, he only had 40 souls there, so really couldn't sustain all of that damage. Getting all the way up to 40 armor cut on Echo, really chunking him out pretty hard as he went in under that fort, but that is going to be the fort falling here, so really well done by one more fight, really taking the advantage they got and just running with it. I've been talking for like 3 minutes straight, so I'm going to take a little sip of water to soothe my throat. So Brightwing, doing my favorite play with Brightwing, which is literally just Hearthstone and then use Z to get back. The global heroes tend to not have as good of regeneration of health and mana, or have abilities that, and don't tend to have abilities that allow you to do that, because it's baked into their kit that they can go to the well, or rather go to the Hall of Storms and come back. Malthael looking to take this fight. Artanis agreeing to take this fight, but definitely not a fight he should have taken, because the rest of one more fight just kind of rotated that back up, and disregarding the sanctity of the honorable duel that was going on between solo laners, and that is going to be Artanis dying and the camp going over in favor of one more fight. Suddenly this is looking a lot more even, possibly even a little bit favored for one more fight. We do have Yavapai in the bot lane taking this fort, but we have one more fight taking the fort in the bottom lane along with that camp. Really well done by them. We've got a big Hearth party coming. Let's check the results of that poll. We had 50-50 once again on the poll for who you want to win game number 3, so half of you are going to be happy when this match ends. The other half maybe not so much. I like the timing on this camp. Unfortunately, Vala is maybe not the one you want taking all this camp damage, but Midnight Fight should be able to do a decent enough job getting him topped up, that is. Although, this does give time for Yavapai to get the immediate damage in onto the Immortal here. So, getting it down pretty quick. We do have a Ring of Frost coming out, heading out only at the moment onto Greymane. The cinematography is going to save him from a lot of that follow-on damage. No one's really getting the interrupts on these cinematographies. A lot of damage coming up from the APOC. We do have the Danger Snakes coming up from Hanzo, only doing a little bit of damage onto Brightwing. But that is going to be half time going over in favor of Yavapai, almost completely. However, you got two camps pushing into the top lane. This could do a lot of damage if it's left uncontested. And it looks like Yavapai are backing out, they're tapping, and they're going to send someone... Looks like they're going to send Hanzo on there to deal with it. Try to get a little bit of damage onto their own Immortal, but we have 4 members of One More Fight trying to race it out. Hanzo gets called back in to try and race as well. Brightwing comes in, trying to get to reduce the amount of damage coming out from Yavapai, and Yavapai winning the Immortal race just barely by 427 hit points. Thank you everyone for your regens in chat, I appreciate it. Arrow, I think that is your particular regen of the Phoenix variety as well as the Regen Globes. I'd love to see it. I like that Malthael is in the bottom lane. Not only is it getting them closer to level 16, but it's going to put pressure out into this bottom keep as the objective is spawning in the top lane. It's not a very strong objective, although a big swap coming out onto Johanna. Midnight Fire with a really nice disengage with that Emerald Wind is going to make it so no follow-on happens. Ring of Frost coming out, heading out onto Greymane. Cinematography comes out and doesn't really prevent a lot of damage, but it still just heals for 30% of hero's health, and that is going to be the damage coming out and the kill onto Johanna as this comes crashing into the keep front wall, down to basically 0 hit points. They see Malthael in the bottom lane, so they know that they've got a 4 versus 3 in the top lane, but can they push in any further and get value done? They decide they cannot. Malthael getting about half of the front wall in the top lane, trading out most of his health to do so. And Yavapai are looking to intercept Malthael in this bottom camp. He's not actually there to intercept. Hellstorm, be careful. There you go. 16's now getting picked up for One More Fight, but they have the man advantage, are going to be able to take this bot camp with absolutely 0 contest. Malthael clearing in the top lane. And we've got another one of those awkward phases where neither team can really push out and do a whole lot. And there's not a lot of value to be obtained on the map. This camp did just come available in the top lane, so One More Fight are probably going to go ahead and try to take that. But other than that, it's mostly just going to probably be, you know, chill, relaxing, maxing all cool right up until the next objective starts spawning. Checking out the talents, because I haven't basically mentioned them this entire game after level 1. We did go into the Numbing Blast and not going in for the root on 16 from Jaina. We've got a camp invade actually coming from One More Fight. I think this is really clever. They did see on the minimap their opponents went into the top lane, so they're just stealing their opponent's camp away. I don't think this actually gets them a lot of value, but the value comes in the opportunity cost of their opponents not being able to take it, which is honestly just as good. We did have Jaina back so they can clear in the top lane. So really no camps are going to be pushing. Both teams are only going to be level 16, maybe 17, which is just scaling. That's all you get at 17. So very even fight coming out. And both teams looking to try and start the team fight. Neither team wants to be the one getting engaged upon here. We're going to hide talents so we can see how this fight is going to shake out. Echo getting some CC. They are going to throw Echo into the back line. Ring of Frost coming out, heading out onto 2. The cinematography comes out, but not actually saving anyone. Andre is going to be the first to fall, as both Auraluna and Artanis were just... both Diablo and Artanis were just a little bit too far forward to get saved by Auraluna in that team fight. And what a difference it made. Diablo's souls did get reset, but Artanis isn't going to be coming back anytime soon. But that's the difference that the cinematography can provide in those team fights. Don't worry, Brightwing. No one saw you get stunned by the boss when you weren't have any contest happening there. Halftime going in favor of One More Fight, but not by as much as you'd probably think, considering they got 2 hero kills at the start of this. And it's in defensive position, so this is probably the best that Yavapai can hope for here. Echo stepping, lots of damage getting put into Diablo there. He did get rooted. Did I read that talent wrong? I did read that talent wrong. It's not the armor cut, and it is the root. Totally my bad, and chunked a lot of damage into Andre for that talent choice there. Artanis is back up now, but that is going to be the objective going over in favor of One More Fight. Really nothing that they should be able to do about this except maybe try to get a counter kill Onto Brightwing, the Emerald Wind did get interrupted. The Rain of Vengeance coming in as an interrupt as well. Midnight Fire getting brought down very low. Greymane does not get the kill because of the additional spell power coming out, although they do find the kill onto Malthael. And unfortunately, the Ring of Frost hitting out into Noah. The Numbing Blast comes in and secures the counter kill out onto Diablo, however. And that is a very healthy Immortal coming in through the bottom lane.
The demon moves for the gates of heaven.
Now, at this phase in the game, I don't think this objective is strong enough to end by itself. In fact, I don't even know if it's strong enough to just get the keep by itself. With the team support, I think they do get the keep. Brightwing did go back so that they can Z in with full health and mana themselves. But already the shielding brought down to this Immortal hasn't even touched the keep itself yet. So they're going to need to put a little bit of damage into it by itself. Mega Muffin, or sorry, Artanis, sorry, did get actually wrecked by the Hush there. The silence on the center hit from Brightwing, securing that kill, and the Immortal is down at about 30% health. It'll do less than the shield onto this. Looks like they can't actually invade on this camp yet. Top camp is respawning right now. Hellstorm is low enough that they're going to back. I don't think this is a very smart play. I think they should have just stayed and let Brightwing top them up. Because if Yavapai decided to take a team fight here, it could go very poorly for one more fight. Brightwing is going to harp down to Mistletoe and make sure they can get this bottom camp, but again, this camp doesn't do a lot. It gives them like 12 XP. Yeah, see that blip barely even moved, but really it just takes it off the map, is one more thing that their opponents can't have. And that's all the value they're getting out of it, but honestly it's probably enough value because they're winning the race to 20 by a very significant margin. They probably get 20 so much earlier that their opponents won't have it for the objective, and that should allow them to take either a very advantageous team fight or just free position on the objective. Ooh, we got Rancor coming out from Vala, saying that they don't need the safety coming out from Farflight Cliver, they want the extra damage. Mistletoe getting the a little bit of the damage onto Diablo, but not deciding to engage any farther. And check out the last level 20s. Blinded by the Light. Deep Chill, which I very rarely see getting picked up from Jaina. The Frost Snap is just such a powerful ability, getting the cooldown reduction from landing Ring. And the Fairy Protector, which is... I don't know if that got picked up in previous games, to be quite honest, but I don't see that talent getting chosen very often at all. Giant Slayer from Hanzo, that's an interesting pick. Actually going into the push forward, that used to be my favorite talent choice until he got his level 13 talents adjusted, and now the Divine Star cooldown reduction on heal is just so good. I don't like giving up that talent, to be completely honest. We do have Yavapai clearing the bottom lane, trying to get themselves to level 20, but they are not finding it yet. So now they've got a tough decision to make. Do we race down the Immortal to get it down to half shielding, or do we try to take a defensive fight down 20? Or do we do neither? Because currently they're deciding to do neither. They're clearing at the bottom lane because I don't actually know why. They just let their opponents get a full health Immortal. They could have raced with just like Artanis and Greymane, so that it would at least have maybe half shielding as it goes into the top lane. Clearing out bottom lane means that they're not going to have to worry about bottom lane pressure. But bottom lane pressure isn't what's going to end this game. The full shield, full health Immortal with level 20s is what probably ends the game. Checking the level 20s now from Yavapai, they do have the Speedy Laser. They've got second pull from Anduin. They've got more often Danger Snakes. They've got the Blunderbuss, so human attacks splash from Greymane, and the Hellgate from Diablo. We're going to hide talents for the rest of the game, because now that we know what they are, they're not going to change, and there's no more new talents to pick up. We do have literally a zoning ult coming out from Hanzo. A lot of damage coming out onto Shank B. Does pop the Ice Block to stay alive. They try to get the extra damage in there with the Artanis Laser, but not going to find it. The Immortal gets down, the shields are removed. A lot of damage still into Jaina, but I don't know if they're going to have another attempt at engaging. We already have Danger Snakes available from Hanzo again. This is once again a zoning ult, and that sounds ridiculous, but they're zoning one more fight away from this boss, so they can't actually push in with it. Or Luna getting caught out a little bit, but not actually getting killed. First kill going over onto Vala, second kill trying to go out onto Hellstorm. Not finding it quite yet. We have a third Danger Snakes coming out, almost finding that kill it onto Hellstorm. Andre looking to find something, but not finding it quite yet. We do have Hanzo mounted, trying to find another engagement here, but he doesn't have any crowd control. The best he can do is maybe dismount somebody and let Andre get another engagement. He's looking for it. He's looking for it on Melthail. Not going to rip the queue though, so they're just going to take that camp. They trade away their core and 66, 67-ish% of their core health to win a team fight. They need to get some value done here. Vala's coming up in 20 seconds. I want to at least see them get this front wall. Fairy Protector is picked up pretty commonly, works really well with Critical Mist and Soothing Mist on 13. I don't think that's what he picked up, though. I thought he picked up the, Spell Armor. Polly saved the heck out of Jaina. Yeah, it did. Jaina was dead to rights without Midnight Fire there. Big damage coming out onto Andre, but honestly the Regen Globe's keeping him topped off through that whole damage, so really good level 1 value coming out from him there. So remember before when I said that bottom lane isn't going to end the game, it's going to be the full health, full shield Immortal? Well, 4 catapults. These guys end the game if they don't start backing very soon, and there's a team fight going out. Honestly, this team fight could go on long enough that those 4 catapults just end the game. Diablo goes down, so him coming back might be what actually saves Yavapai here. As we have those 4 catapults, multiples of them firing at the keep right now. I think 3 firing at the core and only 1 of them firing at the minion wave, so they're going to lose a little bit of core percent probably, but not too much. But this is still a 5 versus 4. Mega Milk is going to be the next to fall. Shank B is going to fall shortly thereafter, it looks like. Or Luna doesn't have what it takes to get him out of there. That is 2 for nothing if you don't count Diablo's death. The shielding has been removed from the core, and it looks like one more fight have decided that this is the last fight that they want to take, and they're going to try and take the series here as they get the 3 kills for nothing. The core in this map is pretty powerful with that root, but I don't think they have the defense necessary to keep the core alive here, as it is beginning to fall very fast. Brightwing using the Emerald Wind to zone everybody away from the core offense, and that is going to be game number 2 and the series. One more fight, completing the reverse sweep to take the series 2-1. Alrighty then. Really interesting series. Lots of cool picks up from both sides, and everyone loves to see a series that goes into game number 3, so well done by them. Let's go ahead and... that is not OBS. This is OBS, so it'll take us back to the between game screen. Update, our score is 2-1 with the right team winning the second 2 maps, and see if we can get Midnight Fire in for an interview. Thank you everyone for sticking it out through the rest of this cast. 21 viewers. Wow, you guys are awesome. Hop on into the NGS server, see if we can find somebody. I actually haven't left the coin toss lobby this whole time, so thank you nobody for hopping in and interrupting the cast. I really appreciate no one showing up in the coin toss lobby. I'm just going to go into lobby 1. See if we can get Midnight Fire in to talk to us just a little bit. Yes, with Hellstorm. Interesting, we're getting a 2-for-1 interview here. Got the GGs coming out in the chat. If you have any questions you'd like me to ask of Midnight Fire and Hellstorm, go ahead and shout them out now. Hey there, Hellstorm. Congratulations.
Hello, you hear me? Is it still working?
Yes, I can hear you.
Alright, hello. Thank you.
Hello, and again, congratulations on your 2-1 victory over Yavapai County, etc. really long name 3 Revenge of Yavapai.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was not easy. The first one, as you've seen, was hard, and they've had a strong play tonight.
Yeah, they definitely showed that they have strong play. Game number 1 was really back and forth right up until the end of the game where it kind of snowballed in their favor.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what happened there. Like, we had one kill. I wanted to jump in and reset and just wipe them all, but I blinked into something or whatever. But I just died instantly, and then we just all died. I was like, okay, this backfired.
I think it was some combination of Jaina, Malthael using Tormented Souls, and a nano boost.
Yeah, I did not see it coming or something.
Yeah,
I just jumped in and insta deleted. I was like, oops.
Yeah, and then they just kind of picked up boss and easy end from there. But it was actually mentioned in chat, and I want to ask you about this. Going into game number 2, you guys look completely unfazed. Like, you played game number 2 like you had won game number 1. You played like with a lot of confidence. So how do you go into game number 2 knowing you just lost?
Well, there's two things though. We played against them Wednesday too.
Alrighty.
And we beat them 2-0, so we knew we could win.
Okay.
So we're like, okay, let's just refocus. Whatever went wrong in the last game, let's refocus. Let's go back to Wednesday's moods. Like, we can do this. We know how they play more or less. We know we're able to deal with it. Clearly, it didn't work this game. They had a great first game, but I think we banned Malthael or something to do the some sort of respect ban because we didn't want to have the same problem we had in game 1. But that aside, we were pretty sure we could do it, and we kept focused, and it worked. So.
That's really interesting. I think this is my first time casting the second series from one of the double round robin divisions. So what kinds of things did you learn from your first set playing against Yavapai?
We knew they played the map a lot more than us. So when we did our checkups of what to ban and what to pick, wasn't me who did it. It was Echoes or a scholar or a spy or something, or a person who investigates. But she was like, okay, so we know they do that. We've seen it in the first matchups. So we're going to try to go with bans or heroes that we know are good on these objectives to try to compensate for that. So. And because it was the second one, we also knew that their play on the rotations, we were better than them. So we didn't have much chance on the last map because it was 2 lanes, but the others we could take an advantage of that.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that you were rotating a little bit faster and taking camps a little bit quicker, and in particular on Volskaya that worked out really well for you because you were able to get the turret camps more often, especially.
Yes, exactly.
Alright, bit of a specific question. Why Brightwing? I love Brightwing to death, but she's been not very good for a while now, so seeing her win 2 games in a row, I'm interested why Midnight Fire is playing that hero in particular.
It's one of her best support, not her best, but one of. So she's strong with it, even if the hero is not necessarily meta, so that's always good, especially at our ranking level. That aside, especially in the last game, it was a direct counter to Greymane. As Greymane, you don't want to jump in to do kills if you're going to get insta-polymorph every time. So,
you know, that's very true, and I think it was the second objective where it was Echo and Midnight Fire went down for the defense, and Midnight Fire got a polymorph on the Greymane, and you won that objective by less than 1,000 hit points. That definitely made the difference there. So I can kind of see, especially on that third map, how Brightwing gets that additional value. And I just love Fightwing so much. I don't know if you heard, but like half of my notifications for like follows and stuff are Brightwing voice lines.
Nope, but I didn't know that.
All right, so then looking into
you should. We wanted to have the link to your stream so we could watch the replays and everything, but I don't have it. Can you send it?
It is twitch.tv/Ektar, just my name.
Easy. That's easy.
Yeah, I got lucky that there's not too many Ektars on the internet trying to steal names from me. So if you see an Ektar somewhere on the internet, it's probably me.
All right.
And
Well,
then
thank you. Did you have other questions?
just the one more. You only had map pick the one time. Why Battlefield of Eternity? I think that you mentioned that you have strong rotations in macro. I think this is maybe the map that lets you do that the least. So I was a surprise pickup for me.
You are correct about that. To be honest, I really prefer to have first pick than map pick in general. We don't unlike I was saying the other team, we don't play the maps much, so it was more or less a map that we like because it's fun, more than because we're good on it or bad on it. Like, I don't think we don't have map preferences, very deep ones. So.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
All right, I think that is it for questions. I'm going to turn it over to you for any shout-outs that you want to give to, well, whoever you want to shout out.
I'm going to shout out to the 3 other members of our teams who might have been watching the stream. I don't know. Lord Gaiek. That was their name. I'm too nervous. Who did we have tonight? Demi did not have... Oh, we did not have... I don't know. Lord Gaiek. I'm going to say Lord Gaiek, and sorry for the other two. Forget you guys. I know their real name. That's my problem. So
I have that problem with a couple of people that I'm friends with.
Yeah. So
we did not have the unused.
Yeah, the unused and
Lord Gaiek, I believe.
Lord Gaiek I mentioned, so there was another one.
Were you running an off-roster sub this match?
We usually try to have everyone play every time.
Midnight Fire.
We did not do it tonight because people couldn't. And it might be a little less. People have started to go back to work and stuff. And anyways, so yeah, we're a bit off roster, but it might start being our main roster because we're the ones with the most availabilities.
I'm just noticing that Newton Rocks is not actually on your roster.
Oh, Newton Rocks is actually the unused.
Okay.
I don't know why it's not on the correct account.
I see that his Discord name is in fact Newton. So Newton Rocks, if you're listening, please log off and log back in on the NGS website so it repopulates that name.
I don't know if he's on. I like what's the game.
That's okay.
So
I'll be sending him a DM afterwards.
All right. Well, thank you for that. And sorry, we didn't notice he didn't take the correct account.
No, it's no problem. And thank you for coming in for the interview.
Thank you very much.
And have a good night. And have a good holiday tomorrow as well.
Yes. Thank you. And you too.
Alrighty. That is going to be just about it for our stream tonight. Thank you everyone who stuck around for that whole thing. And I've got a 45-second delay on, so I'm going to talk for about 15 seconds before we're going to go ahead and raid over the Nexus Gaming Series, which are currently doing a Ladies of the Nexus evening. If you're unfamiliar, it's a couple of the ladies of Heroes of the Storm playing games with each other. It's a lot of fun.